G'day folks, and welcome back to another playthrough of Atlantic Chase. I've decided to replay scenario Blockade 1, Raiders of the North Atlantic. Made a few errors in that first playthrough, fairly minor things, but also learning from the strategic mistakes I've made. Received some great feedback. Thank you to everyone who commented on that. Made a setup mistake as well. I completely forgot about this French fleet here. They have two battle cruisers and a light cruiser. Pretty important. Just didn't see it on the setup, missed it. So we're back at the start. Again, this is September 1939. We do have Ryder with his reinforcement group, the Graf Spee, in Kiel, which can be launched. One big mistake I made is that the Lutzow only has one hit on its full side, but once damaged, flips over and has two additional hits. I did not realize that for some reason. The Vidda only has one hit, doesn't have a reverse side for that ship. The reverse side is a different ship entirely. But yeah, the Lutzow does have, in effect, 3 total hits, so pretty critical error there. Beyond the strategic errors as well that I made. So I've set back up and I have a new plan. I am going to try to focus on this convoy away from the coast, away from the coverage of that Allied air, at least until the weather turns bad. Basically, you can't launch air raids or air support in bad weather. The scenario weather starts good, and so I'll try and stay away from the coasts until that good weather turns bad. All right, so just a reminder of what I've got here. There's a convoy here, there's a convoy running down here, an unguarded, unprotected, unescorted convoy. I do have my force here, the Lutzow, and I do have my force over here, the Vidda. And the recommendation I've received, the advice I've received is to put the Vidda back in port until the weather turns bad and they can escape. Again, bad weather, no Allied air support, no British air support. Increases my chances of getting out into the Atlantic. The same with the Graf Spee as well. So I start my turn and I need to refresh my memory on everything. I believe that, where are my guides here? I believe that I can basically what I want to do is send this station into port. Station can move from hex to box and box to hex. I can do this automatically when I have the initiative. So these guys are moving to the port of Wilhelmshaven, which is just off to the left of the map. That protects them from air raids. Now, something else I need to check. Ports 4 and 8. Yeah, while in port, a task force station may not be targeted by an airstrike, engage, or stealth action. It can coordinate, it can offer air support, it can be designated for an airstrike, and so forth. No worries. Easy enough. Let's try to remember that. That is not an action. Okay, my next action is trajectory, and I am going to set a course from the Azores up to, well, let's make it here. So here we are. This is where we started. We're now sailing to intercept this task force. So a trajectory action. No intel marker is placed because there's sort of nothing to raise any intelligence, so I retain the initiative. At this point, I want to, okay, this is going to be a very long task force trajectory. It's 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 which is going to be very difficult if I attempt a naval search. But I don't think I have any other options. All right, so I guess that's what we're doing. We're doing a naval search on this British convoy trajectory. I'm trying to reduce the size of their trajectory and hunt them down. To do so, I look at the naval search column here. Trajectory total is, as I just said, 15. So I'm looking at this column here. I don't think, off the top of my head, there are any modifiers. I don't have air support, no contact marker, no coordination. So I roll, and it's a pretty decent roll, an 8, which gives me what's called a shadow result. Remove all but 3 of the target segments. The active player removes the segments, but the segment in the target space may not be removed. So boom, 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 boom. I keep them away from England, Britain, and I have to keep them where I found them. That satisfies that requirement. Okay, so we've conducted a naval search. We've found that they're somewhere in this vicinity. With that done, there is an attempt for the English to seize the initiative, the British to seize the initiative. They are AI driven, so they'll roll a dice, and on a 1 to 4, they will attempt to seize the initiative. They roll 2 dice, and on a 9 or more, they seize the initiative. They roll a 5, and so they fail, and they gain a +1 modifier to their next initiative die roll. In the interim, I keep the initiative and I can pick my next action to perform. And again, I want to perform a naval search. So, same process. This time though, the trajectory is only 7, so I shift 1 column back to the left. I again roll 2 dice, and it's a 4 with no modifiers. So this time we get the early or late result. Remove the target's trajectory segment from the space. That doesn't create a hole because it's at the end of the trajectory. So this task force earns evasive maneuvers, which is advantageous to the British. They earn an evasive maneuvers marker. I forgot. I should have done time lapse at the end of my last naval search. Because I am medium, I should have removed 3, which places me there. Now, at the end of this time lapse, I remove my final segment and become a station. Okay. The British may attempt to seize initiative, and they will automatically spend their evasive. They spend it at the first opportunity. They spend this. First of all, they roll a die to see what they're doing. They will attempt to seize initiative. They have a +1/+2 modifier, and they roll a 5, 6, 7. They fail. That gets bumped up, but I retain the initiative. I will perform a trajectory action to plot a course to where they are. They are somewhere here now. I'm narrowing down my information. Trajectory is plotted. No intelligence risen yet. I will now attempt a naval search. And now the total trajectory is 4, but now I'm in range of their air. So their air, so size of 4, their air, they're the target player, 2 hexes away. So I'm looking at this table here, air support, the target player, 2 hexes away, 0 modifiers, which is good for me. Yes, total trajectory is 0 to 4. I roll 2 dice, no modifiers. I get a good result of 9. We have contact, and we have sighted them. So I am faster. If the active task force is faster than the target, I may initiate a, oh no, sorry, it's not, remove the target trajectory, sorry, I was reading the wrong thing. Remove their segments and place their task force station in the box. So I have found them, they are here. We have made contact, which adds a favourable dice roll modifier to my attempts. What else? What else? What else? Contact, sighted, and because that was my naval search action, we conduct time lapse. I remove 2 segments, replace them with my station. So I'm now in the same station with this British, in the same station. I'm in the same area as this British task force. Time lapse is complete. The British can now attempt to seize the initiative. They'll roll dice to see what they do. They will attempt to seize the initiative. They have a +2 dice roll modifier. 5, 6, 7. They fail again, needing 9 or more. They get a +3 modifier next turn, but I retain the initiative. Now, I know exactly where they are. I have contact with them, and I'm in their location as well. So I can now attempt an engagement action. Very importantly, the modifier, or the column for this engagement action, is the best column. It's a 0, because our trajectory sizes are 0. There are no common modifiers to apply. No air support. Oh, sorry, contact marker. They are a very slow task force. I will show you the convoy that we're looking at here. This is what we're looking at. It is a VS in the bottom right hand corner, which means very slow. And with the contact marker, this adds a +4 modifier to my die roll. So I'm liking my chances here of forcing a battle. Let's see what I get. No evasive maneuvers, no coordination. Here we go. Oh God, it's a terrible die roll. So 3 + 4 is 7, which is closing in. If the active task force is faster than the target, treat this as a battle. Thankfully, I am faster. So we have a battle. And one thing I missed in the last playthrough is that per the Solitaire Scenario special rules, when a convoy's task force is brought to battle, and there is no other ship in its task force, do not fight the battle. Instead, automatically, the convoy is destroyed. Hurrah. And a contact marker is attached to the active task force. Success. We don't have to fight a battle against a convoy, they're just captured. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, let's check this scenario. Victory points. I destroyed a British convoy, so that gains me 3 victory points, and I take the lead. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. I think we're halfway there. This is what I'm aiming for. 2, yeah, may also as a result of British action table, 2 or fewer rendezvous markers remaining. I could check out those rendezvous. I haven't really checked out the rendezvous markers. What do they do? They give me new objectives. What else? I make a fueling check, and it does special things for the scenario. Okay, 1 convoy down. We're already doing so much better than the last time I played this through. We will keep the Lutzow active. It is our main force. But before we go any further, after an engagement action, we have time lapse. Okay, I'm a station, so nothing to do there. And then we vie for initiative. Now, I think the British will seize the initiative here. Basically, when we vie for initiative, we both roll a die. The British add their +3 for a total of 7. They seize the initiative, and we make a roll for weather check. The weather is no change. The weather's good. A roll of 2 means no change. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so the British now have their first action. And to do that, we roll on the British action table, which I will try to give you a vision of. It's up in the top right corner of this page. We have one number of successful British convoys completed actions and or destroyed convoys. Well, there's one convoy destroyed, so let's roll a dice to see what they do. They roll a 2, so it's an A result. So we look here. Okay, the weather is good, so they will perform an airstrike targeting a German task force in range of a British or French airbase. Oh, actually, it's 1940. I've got to look at the years. This is not in place until 1940, so there is no modifier for this airbase. There's no airbase. That's the same mistake I made last term with this airbase. There is no airbase in range. It says if there's no target, select a British task force with a cruiser in it. If there is no cruiser in play, and if there's an unidentified task force, create a new unidentified task force in Portsmouth, and they perform a trajectory to the nearest German task force, which would have to be this one out at sea. I don't think they go to the one in port. There are key terms used here. So I think nearest to nearest German task force. So the one in Wilhelmshaven is the nearest, but it's in port. Would they travel to the port? I can't imagine they would. This is one that I'm really not sure about. They want to avoid, if also required to avoid intel triggers. So if they travel to Wilhelmshaven, they'll have an intel trigger. I think they would head towards this task force. So then we grab all the trajectory markers for that task force and they begin plotting a course. These guys are unidentified. We don't actually know what's in this British task force, and in fact we won't know until something actually affects that task force, such as a battle or a hit or something like that, until they're actually called upon to do something. So we find all the tasks for the trajectory markers matching this. There's a lot of them around. Matching this particular task force, and we plot a long course across the Atlantic to where they know that at present, again subject to change, but where they know the German task force is, and they have contact with that task force. Okay, sailing along the British coast and then out to sea. Doesn't really matter what path they take, they'll do something like that. All right, so that was their A action. They performed a trajectory action to the nearest German task force. Then they'll perform a naval search action. But because it's a station, they'll perform an engage action instead. Now they know exactly where I am, but they have sailing out towards that station. They've got a size of 8, trajectory total of 8. But they have a contact marker, which will add a modifier for them. Specifically, because I am medium, it'll add a +2 modifier to their die roll. They roll nicely with a 10, that was a 10, +2 modifier, gives them 12, which is close, and well, we don't know what's in them. So now we need to know how fast they are, which means that now I need to roll to see what's actually in this. And I roll on the Identify British Task Force table, as you can see there. I roll the die. It's a 3, which is a battle cruiser. And let's say it's the Repulse. And a cruiser, the Cumberland. That's what's in this unidentified task force. They've now been identified and they are fast. So they are faster than us, and with a close result, they will treat as a battle. So this unidentified task force has heard about the sinking of the convoy and has come to fight. The Lutzau does not want to fight. We want to get out of here as quickly as possible. Let's proceed to the battle sequence. We start with the gunnery step. There's no surprise here, so we both fire simultaneously. We're at extreme range. The way this works is we both fire simultaneously, take hits simultaneously. Let's start with the repulse. They have a +1 modifier at extreme range, sorry. We roll 3 dice, take the lowest 2, and add their range modifier, which is 1, for a total of 5. On the gunnery table, that's less than 8 or less rather, so it's a splash result. The Cumberland does the same. 3 dice, take the lowest 2, add 0 for a result of 6, which is 8 or less for a splash. I now pick my target. I'm going to target the Cumberland because 1 hit on it will damage it. So I again roll 3 dice. I take the lowest 2. That's a 6. +1 modifier is 7. It's still a splash. Okay, we now move to the torpedo step. There is nobody in the torpedo range. We move to the maneuver step. Now, I believe the British AI wants to get closer. Gunnery, maneuver. The undamaged ships will move closer to the enemy. So they move into the near zone, which puts us now at long range. And during this maneuver step, I am going to launch some smoke. It makes it harder for us to see each other. I mean, it's a -1 modifier, but I'm trying to get the heck out of here. With that smoke launched, I will now attempt to break away. Look at this breakaway table here. I roll 2 dice. I need 9 or more. Enemy ships are in the near zone. Yes, they are. And they are faster, so -1, -1. But I'm in the far zone, +2. So it's a net 0 modifier. I need 9 or more to break away. Oh, so close. But I failed. All right. Next round of combat. And this time, because of smoke, everyone sustains -1 modifier to their die rolls. But this time, we're at far range, so we only roll 2 dice and apply the second modifier. Let's start with the British, the repulse. 2 dice, an 8 +1 is a 9. 8, 9, -1 for smoke, back down to 8. We just saved. That smoke saved our bacon. Excellent. Let's double check this. An 8, -1 for smoke is 7, +1 for their long range modifier is back up to 8, which is a splash result. Very close. Glad we launched that smoke. All right, the Cumberland rolls 2 dice. It's another 8. They have no long range modifier. -1 for smoke is 7. I now attack them. I'm going to attack the Cumberland again. I roll much better. An 11, -1 for the smoke. It affects me as well, so I'm down to 10. But I have a +1 modifier for 11. It's a hit on the Cumberland. Smash. They are damaged. Ooh, okay. When I damage an enemy ship, I get any battle cruisers. Yeah, that's a cruiser. That's a victory point. A damaged cruiser gives me a victory point. That counts. All right. Torpedo step. No torpedoes. Maneuver step. Will they keep coming closer towards me? Let's check their battle behavior. They will move closer. Yes, they will. They want to get really close. No, only torpedo capable. Well, they don't have torpedo. They're not torpedo capable anymore because they're damaged. So they'll stay in the near zone. Damaged ships move to the far zone. Convoys and damaged ships move to the far zone. Okay. And they will attempt to break away if they have a damaged ship. Interesting. So they're a bit scared now that I've caused a hit. All right, that is the, what was that? That was the maneuver step. Now the breakaway step. I will try to break away. Um, enemy ships in near, or is it all of them, or just one of them? That's an interesting question. Do all their ships have to be in the near or far zone, or just one? Breakaway. If one or more ships are in the near or close zone, yes, -1. But I no longer have the slowest ship. They now have a damaged cruiser, which is slower than my medium. So I don't suffer the -1 modifier. So -1 +2, so it's a +1 modifier to my attempt to break away. Here we go. Ugh, 6, 7, not enough. That said, the British also want to break away. I'm not in near or close. I am faster than their cruiser, but not in other zone. So they suffer a -1 roll, 6, 5. So they don't break away either. Okay, that now brings us yep, to the next round of combat. Gunnery again. The Cumberland will attempt an extreme range shot against us all simultaneously. Oh, hold on, what round are we up to? Rounds of combat. Good weather. 1, we've had 2. 1, they moved forward. 2, he moved back. I think this is the 3rd round now, so it's the last round of combat. Okay, the Cumberland will attempt to fire. Lowest 2 is going to be a horrific miss. The Repulse at far long range rolls 2 dice. Ouch, this is going to hurt. Okay, 10 -1 for the smoke is 9. +1 is 10, which will cause a hit, which will damage the Lutzow. But before I flip them over, we do get to shoot with this modifier. And I'm going to target the Repulse. Okay, I could try to sink the Cumberland, but it's extreme range. I'm going to try and hit, and I could try and, it's going to be very difficult. No, let's go for it. An extreme range shot, rolling 3 dice on the Cumberland. This is an interesting choice here. What ship do I target? Try and get 2 hits on the Repulse, where I need 13 or more. Last round of combat, or just take a pot shot at the Cumberland, hoping that I get a lot of high results. All right, here we go. 3 dice, taking the lowest 2. Yeah, that's going to be a miss. That's a splash. I don't even have to do the calculations. So the Lutzow takes a hit and is damaged. Is now slow. And combat ends. It is now the conclusion of the last round. Ships are returned to their respective task force displays. I'm happy I damaged that Cumberland because they are now slow, so we're both at the same speed. We are both marked with a contact marker, so let's find a British contact marker. They sailed very quickly. Time is quite heavily abstracted in this game. And I was still hanging around this area. Must revert to stations, and we vie for initiative. Okay, let's roll a dice each. I seize the initiative from the British. We make a weather check. It's still good weather. I can tell you, I want to get the heck out of this place. So I'm going to set a course for somewhere far away. I am going to plot a course maybe for this convoy. All right, that puts me in air range, but at pretty far air range. The contact marker remains there, but it will hopefully disappear in just a moment. Because what I'm going to do now is a naval search. Let's try and find where this convoy is. Huge trajectories. 8 plus 5 is 13. So looking at this, not naval search here, this column here, I roll 2 dice. No, I'm in range of the French air bases and the British one down here, but it's a +0 modifier at long range. So, I don't think there's any other modifiers. I roll the dice. It's a 5, which is an earlier late. So I can remove them. It creates a whole, sorry, earlier late. Remove the segment from that space. Select one side or the other. I think I'm going to remove this line here so that I know they're in this area. Okay. I now perform time lapse, and because I'm now slow, I only remove 2. So I go 1, 2, and that removes the contact marker. I believe. I think that's the way contact markers work. Once the station is removed, I'm just going to double check that. Contact markers, page 13. No, that's the summary. Contact markers, page 23. Remove when it's host. When a task force no longer has a trajectory segment in the hex, remove the contact marker. Okay, so it is actually attached to that segment, that location, really. Okay, now that was the end of my naval search action. I've done time lapse. The British will attempt to seize the initiative. 1 to 6 to see what they do. They will attempt to seize the initiative. 2 dice, needing a 9 or more. They roll a 10. They seize the initiative. And a weather check. The weather stays the same. Still good weather. We consult the scenario booklet to see what the British are going to do on their turn. We now have still 1 convoy destroyed. So we roll the dice. 2 is another A result. This time, though, they have a task force. So, okay, the weather is good. Perform an airstrike targeting a German task force in range of a British or French airbase. Okay, the air support modifiers from both those locations are the same. Just to summarize, we're looking at 2 hexes away for a +1 modifier. So, they are doing an airstrike action, launching from, let's say, here, targeting my task force segment here. There's no intel attached. It's an airstrike. So we consult the airstrike table, which is down the bottom right-hand corner, with a +1 modifier because of that range. They roll a 7. The trajectory total is 3. So they have another contact. And, a hit if I am slow. Well, unfortunately, because I'm damaged, that is actually hit. So unfortunately, the Lutzow takes the first of 2 hits it can take on its damage side. 2 hits and it's sunk. It's okay for now. Hit, but still going. Okay, then they do... this is an airstrike, time lapse, and vie for initiative. All right, we both roll a dice. The British roll higher. I get a +1 modifier, and they perform their next action. They roll again, a 6, which is going to be a C result. A C result, which is completed action. Remove damaged British ships. Completion action. Okay, this is interesting. Remove damaged British ships. Okay, so basically, unfortunately for us, the Cumberland is just removed. I guess they automatically sail home. Then select a British task force with a convoy. Select the shortest trajectory. Okay. So they are going to try to continue with their trajectory back to Portsmouth via the shortest route. Here they go. And then the selected task force attempts to complete the trajectory action first. Direct route, avoiding intel triggers. Actually, is an intel... A contact marker is not an intel trigger, neither is a trajectory segment, so that doesn't trigger intel. And then they will perform time lapse. So they are a slow convoy, which means they remove 2 segments. That's not so bad. It's going to take them a long time to move there. Then, so that was time. Oh, when they have to do a time lapse. Sorry, that wasn't an instruction. They do, if prevented from performing completion, they are prevented, so they pass. Yeah, that's correct. They now pass to facilitate that time lapse. And now we have an automatic, when they pass, we have an automatic initiative change. We have a weather check. The weather is still good. And it automatically switches to my initiative. Now, I don't like the idea that I have this contact marker in this hex. It makes me vulnerable, but there's not a lot I can do. Given I'm slow as well, I'm only removing 2 trajectory segments during a time lapse. So these will go, but I'll keep that contact marker, which is kind of frustrating. So I guess I'll hang around there and I'll do a naval search. Naval search, total trajectory size is 6 plus 3 is 9, which just puts me on this column. No modifiers. No modifiers. Yep, so here we go. Naval search 9, a roll of 6 gives me a shadow result. Remove all but 3. So I can go 1, 2, 3. I kind of wouldn't have minded an early or late result because then I can really push them back. In any case, remove all but 3. Done. At the end of my naval search action, we perform a time lapse. I'm slow, so I remove 2. I'm going to remove that contact marker. 1 and 2. Just because I don't like, it provides a really bad modifier for me because I'm slow. I think it's a +3 or a +4 modifier, +3 modifier, yep, to any British attacks on my trajectory. So I'm thinking strategically here, kind of wrapping my head around it. Okay, at the end of my naval search time lapse, the British may attempt to seize the initiative. Yes, they will attempt to seize the initiative. They roll 2 dice. They fail. They get a +1 modifier. Still my turn though. Now I can perform a trajectory. Simple as that. No intelligence marker is placed. Then as my next action, I will perform another naval search. Again, 5 to 9. No relevant modifiers. I'm striking them right in the middle. A 9 is a contact marker. So I've made contact with them right in the middle. And it's another shadow, but this time, if they have 3 or fewer segments, none are removed, and they gain an evasive maneuvers marker. That's frustrating. Again, you can place this on the task force display over here, but I think it's a good visual reminder to place it right there. Okay, that's my naval search. Made contact. Yeah, okay, naval search, time lapse. I am now a station. I think I placed the wrong wrong markers there, but should be that one. A station in their hex, and we vie for initiative with the British getting +1 modifier. They seize the initiative. Weather check. Weather changes. Bad weather. Oh, should I break out into the North Sea? Let's see. Anyway, it's the British turn, so we roll to see what they do. They roll a 1, which is an A, an airstrike. It's bad weather, so we treat this as an X result instead, where, decisive action. Select a British task force with a battle cruiser in it. Okay, the repulse over here. They perform actions to bring to battle the nearest German task force. What this means is they know I'm here. They're coming to get me. The reports from the merchant convoy advise them that I am here. They move straight down here. They then seek to engage. They know I'm here. I don't have a contact marker anymore because I removed it, thankfully. So we're looking at the engage table with a trajectory size of 5. They're rolling 2 dice. They have a +1 modifier for their airbase at this range because they're the active player. So this column, engage, a roll of 6 plus 1 is 7. They can also, can they bring in a coordination task force? Can a convoy be a coordinating task force? Coordination, let's check that. Rule page 47. Either player may invoke the benefits of coordination. Task force, it may be a trajectory. I don't think there's anything saying a convoy can't coordinate, right? So the convoy is going to coordinate, this British convoy here is going to help coordinate this engagement action, telling this inbound repulse, HMS Repulse, where to go. In bad weather, it only has a +1 modifier. That is 6, 7 for coordination, 8 for the air, which, at 5, what do we, I think, sorry, we should, I think we subtract the coordinating task force. This is an engage action. This is getting a bit complex now. I'm pretty sure we subtract. No, that's it. That's an 8, I think. So we rolled a 6. It is +1 for coordination in bad weather, 7. +1 for the, oh no, it's air support. So there's no, it's a 7. There's no air support in bad weather. So it's a 7. I think that's it. I think it's a miss. Bad weather, miss. They fail to engage, to my relief. All right, time lapse. They are fast, so they remove 1, 2, 3, 4 segments. So I know where they are. They're right there. And we vie for initiative. Okay, it's a tie, so the British retain it, and I keep it. All right, what are the British going to do next? They roll a die. It's a 3. It's an X result. So again, decisive action. Well, this time they are right where I am. So they are going to engage with the same modifiers. They should get an intel marker because they plotted a course. I missed that. They plotted a course to my known station. So I can interrupt all their actions here. So I didn't interrupt the last one, but let me double check this. Interrupt, oops, that's not the... So whenever you have an intel marker attached to the enemy, so they plotted a course to my location. Just also checking. Yep, No worries. Okay. Sorry, just checking about invasive manoeuvres, which the British have here. I don't think that adds that's a modifier to... Well, it's a common modifier, so they should have used that. They forgot, so I'll play that next time. All right, what's happening? They are trying to bring me to battle. They are trying to engage again. They are coordinating by their convoy again, which adds a +1 modifier. They will spend their evasive manoeuvres marker. No, they're not the target. They can't spend that if they're the target. They don't have contacts. That's +1 for bad weather coordination. No air support because it's bad weather. This time though, they have a trajectory total of 1. So 7 +1 for coordination is 8, which is skirmish. Same as contact, but, so I attach a contact marker. They've seen me. But if the task force is farther than the target, faster, which they are, they may initiate a limited battle. Players' ships start in their far zones, 1 round of combat only. Okay. Oh, wait, before that happens, sorry, I want to attempt to interrupt. I'm not going to forget this time. So they have 1 intelligence marker. I fail. It's a net 0 modifier, so it worked out exactly the same. So we have a battle. And the poor Lutzow, take that smoke out, has 1 hit left, and they're being hunted by the giant HMS Repulse. In the first round of combat, the British at extreme range roll 3 dice, take the lowest 2 results, which is a 6, +1 is a 7. I am slow, which makes it an 8, which is narrowly a splash result. Whew. I fire back at extreme range. I miss terribly with the 2 lowest dice there. During the no torpedoes, during the maneuver phase, they will approach. I will launch smoke, and then during the disengage phase, I will try to get the heck out of here. I will fail. Nowhere near the 9+ that I need. Only 1 round of combat, so we return to, that was a pretty quick combat, we return to our force displays. The Lutzow survives. That's the end of the engagement, so we vie for initiative. I have a +1 modifier. Oh, it's a good British roll. I need a 6. Yes, I seize the initiative and I want to get the heck out of here. Weather change. Oh, it's bad weather. A 5 or 6 changes it back to good. Okay. Oh, I might... What do I do? What can I do? What can I do? I might try and rendezvous. So I'm going to plot a course away from that area. We should both have contact markers after that battle. So the British are there. They have a contact marker on them. But the British merchant convoy has a contact marker on them. I still have a contact in that space. This is getting heavy. I'm going to see what I can do if I can rendezvous. Just see what happens, really. Okay, so that's my trajectory phase. I'm then going to pass and remove that segment and that segment, which removes the contact marker. Pass. Yep. Which passes the initiative straight back over to the British. And they will roll to see what they do. 4 means that they will do what's called a convoy result. Remove damaged British ships. If there's a British task force with a convoy, roll a die and apply the result. A 4. Treat as a C British action table result. Okay. They will again attempt to plot a trajectory back to Portsmouth. And then they will pass. They are very slow, so they'll remove 2 segments. They are making their way. They are still evasive. Slowly making their way there. And initiative passes back over to me because they passed. We do a weather check. It's a 5 in good weather. That is not a change. I now... Okay, what can I do? Okay, so if I have a task force in the same hex as a rendezvous marker. I didn't have to move there. I just had to have a task force. Oh, it has to be a station. So I do have to pass to remove that to make it a station. British get the initiative. Weather check is good. They will perform an action, which is an A action, an airstrike. There is nobody in range of an airstrike, no target. Select a British task force with a cruiser in it. Okay. They don't have a task force with a cruiser. If none in play, create another new unidentified task force in Portsmouth. And they perform a trajectory out towards, oh my goodness, so much naval action going on. They're coming for me. I can see them off in the distance. Here, they plot a course straight to me. And then they'll do a naval search action. However, they have moved to where I am. I have intelligence on them. So naval search, I might try to interrupt this. 9 is an S result. Interruption, S result, which is slip. The action is cancelled. The inactive player can either perform a signals action or attach an evasive maneuvers marker to the target task force. I will attach an evasive maneuvers marker to my task force, and then we vie for initiative. Germans seize it back. My go. Okay, I now have, there's a lot of back and forth going on. I now have the initiative with a station on the rendezvous marker. I must roll the die and apply the result on the fueling table. A die roll of 1 in good weather is an A result. Remove the rendezvous marker. Repair 1 hit from 1 German ship in the task force. New objective, proceed to South America. Henceforth, the only port this task force may attempt completion is South America. I'm not permitted to perform reorganize actions, and it may not perform another refueling check. Okay. At the end of that action, fueling check. I maintain initiative after the check. Excellent. I am now going to attempt to complete that mission. We're moving to South America. Here we go. Plotting a course for South America. There we go. We are still slow. I will perform a time lapse to remove those. I'm still evasive as well. Time lapse, slow, remove 2 segments. Pass initiative back over to the British. And what are the British going to do? A 5. Okay, a 5 result means that they do the convoy action again. Okay, they've already plotted a course, which means all they're going to do is pass and remove those 2 segments. They're very close now. I'm ahead on victory points for now, but if they get back, I get victory points for completing in South America. So I get victory points for reaching here. That's pretty good. So they will pass to pass the time. Weather check is fine. I now have the initiative. I will pass to travel down here. Initiative passes. The British roll for weather. It's fine. They will roll to see what they do. A 2 is an airstrike result. There's no airstrike. So, an unidentified task force. This unidentified task force performs a trajectory action. So they're extending their trajectory to try to find me right outside South America. Wow, this is kind of the story of, is it the Graphs B? There we go. They're trying to find me, and then they'll perform a naval search action. They still have intel though, so I am going to attempt to interrupt. 1-7 is a -1 die roll to their naval search action. All right, so naval search, they've got a huge trajectory, 5, 10. Oh wait, 10, 11. Okay. 11, 8. Any common modifiers? No air support, no contact. I can spend my evasive maneuvers to make it in good weather. -1. So 8 goes down to 7, which cuts a hole in me. But because I already have a hole, nothing happens, and I get back my evasive maneuvers marker. I'm moving through this very quickly because I feel like I'm close to the end, or close to a point where I'll stop. Okay, at the end of their naval search action, we do time lapse. They're unidentified, so I guess we have to figure out, I think I forgot to do that last time. So we have to figure out what is in this task force. A 1, oh crikey, it's huge. They have got a giant battle cruiser. I need to find one. Here we go, the Renown. They have a cruiser, the Trinidad, and a light cruiser, the Achilles. That's what's hunting me. Now I think I forgot time lapse last time they did a search. And they are fast. They should have removed 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know that would have removed, that would have changed the column we used. Doesn't matter. Time lapse for this section. Oh, with an intel marker. If I'm removing the intel marker, they are fast. They can remove 2. Oh, they can only remove 2. So they'll remove 2. I guess 3, 4. I think that's what they're going to do. And at the end of the naval search, we try to attempt to seize the initiative. I will spend my evasive maneuvers. 8, 9, success. Seize the initiative. I'm in South America. I will convert that to a station, and I will attempt to complete. Now, when you attempt completion, they basically attempt to seize the initiative, and if they fail to seize the initiative, I succeed. Okay, so they attempt, they fail terribly. I complete in South America. That is another 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I have, how are we going for the scenario? 2 or fewer rendezvous markers and no task forces in play. So we're still going with this scenario. This is much longer than the first time I played through. 1 task force damaged, Lutzow, has sunk a merchant convoy and completed in South America, so they're pretty happy and safe. They've locked in 7 victory points just for their actions. But of course I still have this task force in Wilhelmshaven and the reinforcements in Kiel that I can try and summon as well. So the scenario continues. This is much, much, much more dynamic than my first terrible attempt at playing it. But I will pause for now. I will point out that at the end of my completion action, I still have the initiative, I think. Remove the designated task force and I hold the initiative. Okay. So attention will now shift back over to the North Sea. I really want to wait for bad weather to bring that task force out. So yeah, maybe a bit of hanging around doing nothing until the weather turns bad. It's going to be risky to get out of there in good weather with a couple of task forces in that area. All right, folks, thanks again for watching and take care.